She's a very celebrated artist, winner of the BBC Wildlife Artist of the Year Award in the British Mammal category. So her work specialises in wildlife, and it's brilliantly detailed. They're really, really stunning pictures. She's coming up after 9, so you want to stay tuned for her. Hello, Wandsworth. It's Loochia here with you until 10 a.m. on this glorious Sunday morning, May 17th. Now's the part in the show where we meet our interesting Wandsworth resident. And as I mentioned earlier, it is Hazel Mountford, the artist, based in Wimbledon Studios. So without further ado, here is Hazel herself. I'm here with Hazel Mountford in Wimbledon Studios, which is a pretty cool place. You're the winner of the BBC Wildlife Artist of the Year Award. You've also, I was researching you, and you've also worked in theatre production and film production as an artist, as a technical artist, and you're also a professional muralist.
That's all my past.
I
trained as a props maker at Wimbledon School of Art.
Okay. Another Wimbledon connection.
And everybody else moved out of the area I stayed. There you go.
Could you tell me a little bit about your journey from that to what you do now?
When I first left, I basically worked on independent films and some theatre productions, doing set design and backdrops. And then I got involved with some friends, and we started our own little mural company, and we were doing that for a while. And basically, one of the things that actually then I sort of moved back into theatres and started doing some more theatre stuff, and then I started getting into doing my own paintings, and then unfortunately I got hit by a car. And I was out. I broke my ankle, and I got an infection, and basically lost about 9 months. So kind of then it was that moment of like, all right, okay, what shall I do now then? Because everything kind of stopped for a bit.
Right.
And a friend of mine was doing a little art show, and said, "Do you want to put some work in?" So I did. I came up with this idea about keeping a grip in the capital, which was all about how London's all about change and habitat change, and how do animals keep a grip in staying in the place. And London used to have fields, and so we used to have hares and things like that, and that's all been shoved out. And now, and so who's been successful, who hasn't been successful? And so I produced 3 paintings for that. And I sold one of the paintings from the show. That was really good. And then a friend of mine, she just got this her own studio, so we went to look at her studio, and it was in Mordenhall Park. And they had one available. We were like, "Oh, should we take it?" And so, well, before we take it, this was my friend. Before we take it, let's find out what else is around. And found out Wimbledon Art Studios. Came here. It's like, wow, this is amazing. Blue Studios had just been built, and we went to red, went to blue, and saw this little self-contained area, and thought, oh, well, we'll try it. Surely we can, blow our, savings for a year, we can afford to take the studio and go for it, and do some theatre stuff as well, maybe, but also to do my own art. So I shared the studio with somebody else, and started producing work, and we opened, it was October, we moved in, November was the Open Studios. I had 3 galleries approach me at the Open Studios.
Wow. And
one of them was Quantum Art. And they said they were interested in taking me to Battersea Affordable Art Fair.
Yeah.
So that almost didn't happen, because some reason my emails weren't going through to him.
Oh no.
And I was like, he said he was interested, so I kept writing saying, these are the pictures and stuff, and he didn't write back, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And I basically was like, I gave up. And it was in February, and I just thought, I'll just try one last time. And he said, oh my God, we've been trying to get in touch with you for months. That almost didn't.
All for a technical glitch.
So anyway, so took my work to Affordable Art Fair, sold at Affordable Art Fair, and Johnny said that he wanted to take me on as one of their artists.
That's amazing.
It just was, and then I think it was that the year? I'm trying to remember. I can't quite remember the years now as it went along. But then he also then said he wanted to take me. It was the year that he also said he wanted to take me to Toronto Art Fair, which was like,
wow.
And that's when I suddenly realised,
yeah,
it's all changing. It's all changing. And also I went for the BBC Wildlife thing, and it was the British Mammals category that I won, and. It was this amazing year of just everything suddenly happening, and I remember waking up one morning and just everything was just buzzing in my head because I was like, just couldn't believe what was going on, and got mentioned on the Toronto radio about my work, and it was like, then I sold more work through them, and in the end gave up being doing the theatre stuff and doing the mural stuff, and became a professional artist. And now here I am. I've got a gallery in Singapore.
Really?
Yes, I've got a gallery in Singapore. I've got a gallery in the Cotswolds now, as well as Quantum Art.
And how did the gallery in Singapore come about? Was it?
Well, Johnny took me to Quantum Art. Took me to Hong Kong Art Fair, and the gallerist was opposite that stand, and was looking at my painting called Look Into Land, which was this painting of a red-crowned crane, and fell in love with it, and then contacted me saying, would you be interested in showing in Singapore outside of the art fairs, because I go with Quantum Art to the actual Affordable Art Fair. And he said he wanted 6 paintings, and it took me a year to get 6 paintings together because I was doing with the other art fairs as well, the British art fairs. And yes, I'm now showing out there, and just sold my orangutan painting out there to a guy who works for China Bank, which was very nice. He sent me a personal email thanking me for it, and saying if you're ever in Singapore, come out and see me.
Come and see it. That's amazing.
So, I know. It's just bizarre. It's in some ways it's a small world though, because this owner he comes from Essex originally.
Oh really? Okay.
So, but he flew over last May. He flew over to see me, just to see me during the Open Studios. I was so touched.
Wow.
To do that was just so special.
Well, he obviously really appreciated what he saw.
Yeah. So it's a very exciting time. You just never know what's behind the corner next.
That's very much the impression I get. One thing leads to something you may not expect that leads to...
it's so important to be seen out there. I mean, I've done some magazine articles for Art of England and basically it's because they saw me at the art fairs. And Albion Gallery saw me at Battersea Affordable Art Fair and said they'd been following my career and approached me and said they would be interested in showing me. So, it's just get out there, do as much as you can, I think, be seen, actually.
I mean, your work is very distinctive. That's what really struck me when I was... when I came across you. They're these very dynamic animals. They look like they're trying to sort of reach out of shapes, and the shapes that they're in, the kind of canvas I suppose you work on is different shapes, and in the past you've used quite stark white backgrounds.
Yes.
Is what kind of what inspired you to work in the medium you work in, the subject matter?
I don't know why I came up with working on wood. That's the interesting thing how it all started, because I do know why I started working on wood, because I did another painting for my old school was closing down, and they asked to have a little art show, and I wanted to do a piece about the accident. And I don't know if you know those little games that you play, in which you have little blocks and you move them around each other to make the paint, make the shape, make the image again. You mix all the little blocks up round,
right,
and then you push them up and push them down and push them round, and then eventually you get your image back again. I can't remember what they're called anyway, but they're wooden games anyway. and I did a painting about the fact that you couldn't put me quite back together again. So I was painting parts of my body that, because I took a piece of my muscle from underneath my arm and put it into my leg, and I sort of felt I was a bit like I'd been sort of been put in a puzzle and mucked around.
Oh, I see.
So that was the first time I'd worked on wood and really enjoyed it. And so when I was basically coming up with this idea for the Keeping the Grip in the Capital, I just sort of felt it needed to be on wood, and I guess all my ideas come out from lots of different sources. I was doing an Open University degree of Earth Sciences, and when you do that, you realise it's a dynamic planet. It's always changing. Nothing stays the same. Because we've got such a short lifespan, we kind of think everything stays the same almost.
Yeah.
And it's, I guess that was in my head about this idea of everything moving, everything changing. I was trying to keep a grip of the capital. I was trying to keep here, and I was doing portraits of animals as well at that point, but just pet portrait type thing. I think everybody does that at some point. And it kind of just all came together in this one idea. I started sketching these ideas out, this gradient line idea, and using the panels, but also having this idea that the animals were interacting with their own this gradient line of rise and fall. And the stark whiteness, it just felt right, this idea of the urban thing, of just everything being pure white and just zooming in on the animal itself, and the idea of the animal turning around and looking you in the eye and making an engagement, and it wasn't supposed to be about I wasn't trying to judge people and saying, oh, this animal's been chucked out, this animal's been kept. It's kind of this is what happens in London and all over the world actually. And so I guess that's the thing, the ideas just come from lots of different sources. I've always said to people, go out and see as much as you can. Go to galleries, walk around. You just don't know what's going to inspire you. I mean, one of my latest series is Finding a Way, and it was inspired by me walking along the pavements and looking at the cracks and walking along barriers from roadworks, and realised I was being forced down these corridors, and I was looking at the animals, and I was thinking, yeah, I'm being forced down this passageway, but actually there's an underneath, there's above, there's other different spaces, and kind of to a certain extent nature can find a way in those different spaces, in the cracks and crevices nature finds a way. And so that's one of the things I've been exploring in this series I've got, which is one of my new series.
Which seems like a real departure from the brilliant white backgrounds that I came to sort of know you with.
Yeah, that's the blacks ones. The white ones are over here. I don't know if you can see above.
Yes. Okay.
These are on gesso panels, and the idea is perception of space. So I'm painting these moths, and they're crawling around these spaces, and there's actual real blocks, and there's spaces they're walking in between.
I see.
And it's like the idea of what is real, what isn't, and it's so nature's finding a way. And another new series, because I've been developing, which is We Own the Night, which is all about. These are on brown panels, and this is me doing black on a black panel. And this is something. This is quite a departure, because I always paint on white, and I just thought I was just interested in trying something different, something new. And the idea is that at night animals take back the spaces, but then we go out and we have our torchlights and stuff, and it's like, who owns the night? It's this confrontational element going on, which is quite different. And I've been looking at Spanish still life artists and playing with the idea of darkness. And I cycle here, at night and stuff, and it's quite fascinating looking at the night, the colours in the night, these purples, these maple yellows. It's quite fascinating.
Is that's an urban night?
Yes, that's an urban night. Yeah. But then if you go down to the countryside, my friend in Canterbury, it's very different. You get very different colours coming through. So that's kind of fascinating as well. Just things. I mean, this is all the things. As I say, there's just so many things you can take in.
Yeah.
And be excited by.
I am. Yeah. I always think the night in the countryside is just so much darker and
Yes.
kind of
Oh,
velvety almost.
Yes. Yes, it's kind of this blanket over you.
It enfolds you, whereas
It's kind of a foggy type feeling.
Yeah.
It's the way it sort of hangs in the air. Obviously, street lights and everything, it just alters it. I mean, it's kind of fascinating. So, I guess in some ways, these new paintings, these black paintings, kind of they're trying to be deliberately very theatrical. I'm trying to, once again, I don't like to do too much. I don't like doing background. I don't like to say this is a particular area. I want to say this is the subject matter. It's the idea, and focus on the animal and stuff. So it's about the night. It's about the space itself.
But I sort of, when you say theatrical, I think of the spotlight that they appear in.
Yes.
The animals themselves are so detailed. That detail, is that from your science background? That kind of...
I don't know. That's just how I paint.
It's amazing.
I don't know. I guess I always used to love to go and see the Elizabethan portraits in the Natural Portrait Gallery, and they're incredibly detailed. And I think that's just... I really enjoy doing that sort of level. I really admire abstract artists and stuff, because I can't paint that way. I can't see the world that way. But I think like this, and I get a lot of joy trying to produce it. I mean, these, not so much these, because my other ones, I was doing life-size paintings. I always used to do animals life-size. But how I do constructing was I come up with a skeleton. I draw the skeleton into position, put the muscle structure over the top, and then do the final drawing, and then it gets transferred. So the idea is you kind of understand what's underneath.
Yeah, yeah.
And whether that's anything to do with my science side, I mean, I did art first. I did the science degree because I was told at school I was no good at science. And I wanted to prove I could do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I love studying. Yeah. I love absolute adore studying. And so I did. I proved I could do science. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But sometimes you have to kind of do it, and you just...
Yeah,
and I found it all fascinating. I love research. I mean, a lot of these ideas I come up with ideas just by reading things all the time on the internet.
Yeah.
And you just find a little snippet, and then you just start researching and finding more and more. You've got to be very careful not to go over the top actually with research. Actually. It can be very addictive. Actually,
I can imagine you can get so lost in I could read all day if allowed. So this is one of your current projects.
Yes.
These animals.
Yes.
Is there anything else coming up you'd like to talk about?
Painting-wise, well, this is my solo show. So this is in the Cotswolds in August. I've got loads of other projects I want to do, which I've still got my No Room for the Animals, which I'd love to go back to, which was all about how in the future the scientists, it sounds all really over the top. Scientists genetically shrink the animals because there's not enough room for them.
Really?
Yeah, that's the idea. But also because we always tinker with things, we kind of make them a bit calmer, a bit nicer than they should be, sort of thing. And I started doing one painting, which was a caiman, and they were in these pods, which is these octagons. And I was going to do the various different animals which would be with it. It was going to be a jaguar and stuff. But of course, if you did that, if you shrunk it, the implications, obviously, what happens to your prey, what happens to your, it kind of, if you start manipulating these things. But so it's all about, so once again, it was about this idea of shrinking world, but actually, literally, you shrink the animals themselves. So that is another project I'd like to work on at some point. And my sketchbook's full of different things that when I have time, it's just, time. There's never any time.
And that was Hazel Mountford talking about her work and how she creates it, which I found absolutely fascinating. If you're around today, why not head down to her studios? It's Wimbledon Art Studios, and they've got an open day going on all of today. We're going to have some more music now, and then we'll find out about what her perfect Sunday around Wandsworth would be. And there's also me asking her more about her work because I couldn't help myself. So stay tuned. Earlier we had Hazel Mountford telling us a little bit about her work, and now we have her again talking to us about her perfect Sunday, and me continuing to question her about what she does because I couldn't shut up. Anyway, here she is. Could you tell me a little bit about what your perfect Sunday in Wandsworth would be? Around Wandsworth.
I'm a Sunday roast person.
Are you? Okay, great. So am I.
Yeah, 3-hour Sunday roast, basically. Well, if I'm close to the studios, then I basically there's a little steakhouse near us.
Okay.
Which I go to. They do a very nice beef Sunday roast. Or there's some quite nice ones down near Wandsworth Common. And if it's summer, you go out, wander around Wandsworth Common. Or there's the really nice tapas place which you might know in Battersea.
Oh, yes, I
have you been to it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's really good. It's
suckling
very
pig.
Good.
Have you had the suckling pig with?
I think I must have done. I've had pretty much everything on that.
That's good.
So, yeah.
And then once again, you could walk into Battersea Park. And as I said, I was thinking about this. You were saying that, and I was thinking, what haven't I done in Battersea Park? I always mean to do, which is always mean to go on that boating lake. Have you ever been?
No, I've never been either. No, I've lived near there for ages.
I know. It's like that would be my perfect Sunday.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going for a 3-hour dinner somewhere? Obviously maybe in the tapas place, just really taking your time, having really nice cheeses and all that sort of thing, and then wandering up there. Yeah, that would be perfect.
Hello.
Yeah.
Couple of hours, burn it off.
Yeah. Or of course in the summer you get pins. Yeah. So I'm a bit into the sort of food and stuff and just taking it easy.
Yeah. Well, you're working so hard all week.
Yeah. Most days in the studios actually. It's. But I love it. I mean it's a passion, and you're around people that equally have that same passion. There's nothing like working amongst people who understand you. Yeah, understand your highs and lows, because we all go through both of them.
That must be because I sometimes think, oh gosh, if you had a space in your house, why wouldn't you just do it there, perhaps, a studio? But the collective working with others, I realise how powerful that must be.
It is actually, yeah. I mean, we've all had our moments where you just need to go and have a hug, and yeah, it's really. I think that social side is quite important. Actually, I think that I mean, but I've always said it just gets such a buzz coming here. I mean, it's cycling in every day. It just gives you. And it's interesting because you get different dynamics at the weekend and versus the week, and you get different sort of people and different. Yeah, it's. I think I'd need that separation from home. That's why it's important, I think, to be here for me anyway. I know some people obviously can easily work at home and then they've got their own social world outside. But I think I do quite a lot of things with people here. We organise things. We've been organised to go to the dogs tracks. And,
awesome!
Yeah, we have. Yeah, so there's a local microbrewery we go to and things like that. So it's
awesome. Well, thank you so much for telling me all about your perfect Sunday. It's been Hazel Mountford. And that was Hazel Mountford telling me all about her perfect Sunday. I'm Loochia, here with you for another just over 15 minutes. What really struck me about Hazel was how much she loved what she did and how it had snowballed in directions she couldn't have predicted. Her route to wildlife painting wasn't necessarily linear, I suppose. She studied science. She was also a muralist. She also suffered this major setback after a car accident. But she still found this kind of route to success. And that the thing about loving what she does really struck me. It just sounds amazing. She's a really interesting lady. And she will be there at the Open Studios today in Wimbledon Art Studios, so get yourself down to that if you're looking for something to do. Her art is just so detailed, it's beautiful, and there's so much It looks like there's so much movement in it. I'm not surprised it won the BBC competition. Anyway, there's enough chat from me. We'll have some music.